First of all, hallelujah!
It is 4th and 26. McNabb is back. He's looking. He is firing, and it is caught by Freddie Mitchell.
And Pizarczyk fumbles the football. It's picked up by Herman Edwards. 15, 10, 9, touchdown Eagles. I don't believe it. I don't believe it.
Jackson takes it at the 35. Picks it up. Looks for running room. He's at the 40. He's at the 45. Midfield. Oh! He's let it go! The short back. Oh! I don't care if he's short. He's running around. And he's in the end zone. And there's no time. And the Eagles win. Brings it back again. He steps up his head and falls forward. And he fumbles the football and the Eagles have it. And it's recovered. The Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl champions. Eagles fans everywhere, this is for you.
You know the Philadelphia Eagles. Let me get a hell yeah! E-A-G-L-E-S, Eagles!
Eat turkey like a good boy should, 'cause it's turkey to eat. So good.
All right, everybody, you heard it from everybody here at Old City Sports Network. We'd like to wish you all a very happy, healthy Thanksgiving, full of all your favorite side dishes, which we will get to in a little bit. Want to thank all our sponsors for hanging with us here through the season thus far. And again, we hope you guys all just have a great Thanksgiving, full of football, food, booze, and most importantly, family. Speaking of family, like that, yes, and absolutely a Cowboys loss. Speaking of family, got my two co-hosts with me here, Jake Long, Kyle Not So Sharp. Boys, how we doing?
Good. I'm drinking tonight, basketball in the morning, and then eating all day. Eat myself into a coma tomorrow.
You heard drinking. Let's go, boys. You got a little Neshaminy Creek in there. A little Neshaminy Creek in there. Kyle's beerless tonight.
Hey, over here, we drink water.
This is cum. South Park episode. That's what I was going to say by the end of the episode.
All right, boys. So we talked about it. Side dishes. This is, of course, a Thanksgiving special edition of Sundays for the Birds, the only podcast that makes every day feel like a Sunday, like a game day. Speaking of game day, tomorrow, if you're a fat fuck like me, it's game day. You got your elastic pants on, no belt, no restrictions, and you're ready to throw down side dishes. We are going to discuss for you right now here tonight elite side dishes. We're going to throw it around the horn here. We'll all give our favorite here, and I'm sure the boys are going to roast me for mine. But, Kyle, we'll start with you because I know that you eat like a 5-year-old.
Hey, I take full responsibility for that, and I go cranberry sauce. You know,
Is that even – hold on. So is cranberry sauce even a side, or are we considering it a condiment? Because sauce is in the name. Hold on, sauce is in the name.
No. A cranberry sauce. No. A condiment is something that you put on something as a condiment.
But can you eat cranberry sauce by itself?
I have before.
You could eat mayonnaise by itself too, but you'd still be a smacked ass. So I don't know.
It's a complimentary dish at Thanksgiving. I don't understand how that's up for debate. And
I don't know
if it's a dish though. It's
a topping,
dude. If you
it's canned fruit.
Is that a fruit?
Yes, cranberries are fruit, Kyle.
Oh, dude, I'm gonna have to take responsibility for being healthy.
He's like, damn, it's my first fruit in years.
That's what I'm saying. Cranberry sauce and grapes. That's all I got now.
Jesus Christ. All right, Jake, what's your pick here? What's an elite side dish in the Long household?
Yeah, I'll go as a 5-year-old too. I mean, it's homemade mac and cheese. It's the best. If I got to go another one, I'm going mashed potatoes. And a very I don't know, I guess forgotten ingredient is corn. I mean, I think corn you mix it in with anything, It tastes like it gives you that little crunch. You know, I mix it in with my mashed potatoes. I'm mixing it with my mac and cheese. It gives you that little crunch. I love corn, but mashed potatoes.
I just don't know if there's room on my plate for corn.
No, that's why you dump it on top of your mashed potatoes.
I do get down with it in the mashed potatoes. I'll give you that.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So before you guys roast me for my favorite, which I know is coming.
Here comes Karen.
I know it's coming. But before you roast me, I will mention that, yes, mashed potatoes, elite side dish. Cranberry sauce, I don't even know if it's a side dish.
It's a side
Jake,
dish.
I'll ride with you.
Twitter poll.
Now,
that
is a Twitter poll, absolutely. You can catch that on our Twitter tomorrow at Sunday Birds Pod.
I'll play that right now.
Now, for me, I don't even know if it's underrated, but for me, what I look forward to at Thanksgiving, second most when it comes to the side dish, is stuffing. That's number 2 for me.
Throw out the one that you talked about before.
Stuffing, delicious. I make my own, homemade. Got the sage sausage in there, the onions, the celery. Using Martin's potato bread. It's elite. Phenomenal side dish. I only make it a couple of times a year, so I look forward to it when I do get to have it. Now, for the one you guys are going to roast me for, it's got to be green bean casserole. It's got to be. You get the creaminess of the cream of mushroom soup. You get your greens in there a little bit, and then you just come right over the top with some more unhealthiness with those crispy fried onions, those little French's fried onions. They're awesome. Green bean casserole, highly underrated, but very much elite. At least in the Campbell household, it is.
I don't even need to roast you because it's
you just roast it yourself.
It's itself. Like
you need to roast that green bean casserole and just.
Hold on, I roasted myself, but Kyle's picking canned fruit.
Yeah,
that's on brand for me. So that's the difference. You're eating like an old.
I don't even know if that's on brand, dude. You're giving me serial killer vibes.
Yeah,
right
cranberry sauce, man. That's not a kid food. If I brought it to my son, he'd be like, "What the fuck is this? It looks like flubber. Like I ain't."
It is.
It's a red flubber.
All right, well, now I got to ask: are you getting the jellied cranberry sauce, or are you getting the one with that whole berries in it?
No, jellied.
That's nasty.
I mean, they both suck, but I don't know.
I've been taking it for lunch at work sometimes, just because getting fast food gets expensive. So I've been starting just taking a can of cranberry sauce once a week.
Are you? You're fucking with us right now.
No, I'm not.
Please tell me you're fucking with us.
I'm telling you.
I don't.
It's tough out
here.
I don't know where to.
Weirder by the episode.
Yeah.
I'm a professional host at this point, and I have nowhere to go from here.
We'll go on to the next topic, baby.
I have no idea where to go from here.
Let's get to some football.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, boys. Football time. Let's do a quick little recap here. Jake, roll the video recap from last week.
Got it. Welcome to Sundays for the Birds, Week 11 recap. Eagles at the Colts. First drive did not go well for Birds defense as Taylor breaks off an easy 28-yard run. Wasn't really touched until he was 10 yards downfield. Third and goal from 1.5, and Jonathan Taylor and the Colts plow in for a touchdown of the game. 7-0 Colts. Eagles driving to tie the game, and Hurts can't handle the bad snap by Kelsey, and that will end the drive and lead to a 22-yard field goal by Jake Elliott. And yet again, another field goal right before halftime given up by the Eagles makes the 7-point lead at halftime. Very first play of the second half, Hurts drops back, looks deep, and is strip sacked, and the Colts recover the ball. Luckily, the Eagles defense holds strong and forces the Colts to kick another field goal to take a 10-point lead. Still somehow in the game when Hurts finds Quez Watkins for a 22-yard touchdown score to cut the deficit to 3 points. Colts next drive, they bottle Jonathan Taylor up, and Marcus Epps strips the ball and TJ Edwards recovers. Unfortunately, when the Eagles get the ball, A.J. Brown returns it right back with a fumble of his own. Colts are driving, but on third and goal, Reddick gets a huge sack, leads to a field goal 16-10, Colts lead. Crunch time, and Hurts goes deep to Sanders, and they get the 27-yard pass interference call, which will lead to third and goal from the 7. Hurts takes the snap, and the D splits like the Red Sea. Trots in the end zone for a touchdown. Jake Elliott will come on and kick the extra point, which gives the Eagles a 1-point lead. It's 4th and 21. The Colts do absolutely nothing with it on the next drive. That's the ball game, folks. Eagles 17, Colts 16. An ugly-ass win, but the Philadelphia Eagles are 9-1. Go Birds!
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we just saw the recap there. Your Philadelphia Eagles are, of course, 9-1. Let's go around the horn here. We'll just chime off a couple of things that really stood out to us here. I know for me, for one, I'm embarrassed at the way that this team has taken care of the football the past 2 weeks. Turnovers are absolutely a problem at this point, and there's no other way to describe it. In a positive light, though, it is nice to see Miles Sanders getting back out there on that wheel route. That was something you saw from him 2 seasons ago, where he was pretty deadly on that wheel route.
I didn't know that was a wheel route, though. I feel like that was a broken play, and he just like, fucking, there's no one behind me. He improvised and went upfield. I don't even think it was a designated wheel route, which would be nice to see by the running backs, but we don't do screens to our running backs. We don't really implement our running backs into the passing game at all, which I feel like is a problem, especially with guys.
And it's really an extension of the run game, and you see it a lot where the screenplay can really set something else up. If you make it look like you're setting up a screen, we've seen them do this off of the Dallas Goedert screen, right? Where you set it up, you run it early in the game, later in the game, you get that outside corner, you get that slot corner to bite on it, thinking it's going to hit super hard. And then you hit a guy on, say like a 20-yard comeback route or, something up the seam where now you have somebody else sneaking up behind wide open. So I agree. We got to utilize the screen game a little bit more, build some plays off of it. And like you said, Jake, get the running backs more incorporated. I mean, you just saw there on that play by Sanders. I mean, good things happen when you get running backs involved in the passing game. You saw it year in and year out with Darren Sproles here. And, I think a guy like Kenny Gainwell, I think that's really a role that I could see him in, is that kind of receiving back, that Darren Sproles, poor man's Alvin Kamara type thing, where you get him out in the flat and let him make some dangerous moves. So we absolutely got to get him a little bit more involved. But I think that was a nice little taste there, and I think it was a smart football play by Miles Sanders to draw the flag. Jake, what stood out to you?
Defense started out slow, but they held them to 16 points, which is what you need to do because the Colts are averaging like 15 and a half points, something like that. So you held them to their average. They did their job. The biggest thing that stood out was that Sue and Joseph made an immediate impact on the team. They both had half a sack. They both had a tackle for loss. And it just looked – I mean, Fletcher Cox only had 2 tackles, which because he's a bum. But it looks like it lit a fire under him. It looked like he was at least pushing the guards back into the running back to allow the linebackers to come up and make the play. So it looks like that competition, that leadership has already paid dividends. And I love what Sue's already said this week. He hates the Packers. Obviously, he was a Lion for the longest time. So he's ready to snap Rodgers in half. And we'll talk about that later. But that's one of my big standouts is that stopping Jonathan Taylor after the first drive, he ran all over us. And other than that, we shut him down. That forced fumble on him was huge, even though we ended up giving it right back to him. And then Hurts put the game on his back, or I'll say his legs. That I think towards the end of the game, they let Hurts be Hurts. They say, we're trying to make you a pocket passer, but we need you to go make plays and go do it for us. And he went and won a game for us. Hurts.
Absolutely.
I mean, the defense won the game, I think, because they kept us close with some of the turnovers we have. Going forward on 4th and 10 at midfield, which was idiotic. I feel like this was one of Sirianni's worst coach games that he's had. But the defense bailed us out time and time again, which they should have done against a bad offense. And then Hurts said, okay, I'm going to be that cool, calm guy that everyone thinks I'm going to be, and I'm going to drive you down the field. We had a 4th and 2, I think it was, from like the 12 or 10. Converted that with Hurts, and then boom, that 3rd and goal. Split open, touchdown, Eagles win.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a great game by Jalen Hurts. Our buddy Robert Wood checking in over on Facebook says, "Fly Eagles fly." And earlier he was saying, "You got it, Jack." I think that's him agreeing with us there. Not sure which one of us. Our old buddy Vinny D, the old 1 week wonder. We miss you, buddy. But you can always check him out over on Delco Dive and the Fan Lot. So shout out our boy Vinny D. If you guys haven't been following him on Twitter, you should check it out. He's got a little mobile studio in the works. We got a little group chat going with all of us here on the network. And the other day, there was a video of him cutting some lumber. And I got to tell you, that man in power tools, I don't think that should be allowed. I think Rachel might have to hit him with another 2-piece. Little insider there. You got to check out Flyers Alley to put 2 and 2 together on that one. Kyle, what stood out to you, my man?
So I think, as Jake said, the run defense was phenomenal outside of that opening drive. For as much criticism as they've drawn from people on this podcast, they played great. And the fact that they held them in check, especially when the Colts got out to a lead, is a large part in why the Eagles were able to come back. And then just touching on Jalen Hurts, I think he played fine. But something I'm starting to notice is his football IQ seems to be just not what some people rave about it to be. The snap where Kelsey snapped it over his head, he clearly could have just chucked that out of the back of the end zone, and instead he chose to go down. I'm not sure why. If you throw it out of the back of the end zone, you have a shot to go for on 4th down. And then again, near the end of the game, I don't know why you snapped the ball right before 2 minutes. You're clearly making it the last drive of the game, and you essentially gave them a free timeout. And if it wasn't for Brandon Graham's sack on the final drive of the game on 3rd and 9, it looked like the Colts were driving and they were in a position to go get the go-ahead field goal. So that's a little clock management thing. That's not all on Hurst. That's on the coaching staff too. They have to know you shouldn't.
Yeah, the 2-minute warning one is absolutely on the coaching staff.
Yeah, I hate that because, and then take it back to the 3rd quarter, you're down 10, and you let the clock run out. It's like, no, you need to run as many plays as possible.
Yeah, when you're down 10, yep.
When you're down 10. And it's not like they were hurrying up and they had 5 seconds to snap the ball. He had like 12, 15 seconds to call a play, run it, and run another play before the 4th quarter started. And that made me mad. And then when they snapped the ball before the 2-minute warning, I'm like, what are you doing? Let it go to the 2-minute warning, and then you run your play afterwards. It made no sense. And that's why it goes back to me saying Sirianni, I think, had the worst game possibly of his coaching career.
No, I agree. It's on the coaching staff, but if you're the quarterback, you got to have better awareness than that. And it's just been a couple of times throughout the year I've noticed it. I think that's an area that he needs to grow on. So that's just something to keep an eye on. And right. I was ready to text
you guys. Before you go any further, real quick,
what you got, Big Dog?
Jake, you mentioned it's one of Sirianni's worst coached games of his career. Do you think coming back to Indianapolis plays into that at all?
Yeah, I think he was trying to be too big balls like Frank Reich. I mean, you've seen his emotional side after the win. This shit was for Frank Reich. I felt like he wanted to hand it to him easily, and it didn't come that way. And I feel like a lot of it was his coaching flaws that were on full display. So he'll learn. I love his passion, but sometimes you got to bottle it in and not let it affect your play calling. And I feel like it kind of affected his play calling this past Sunday.
Absolutely. I got one other thing I wanted to touch on, and then we'll go back to you, Kyle. You mentioned Hurts' football IQ there. The 2-minute warning, like I said, I think I put that more on the coaching staff. But I did notice some chinks in the armor as well. And I mean, you guys know there's no bigger Hurts guy in the Delaware Valley than this guy right here. But there was a couple of plays where you saw in the RPO, he went to the running back. Now, I don't know if it's a coaching point. I don't know if it's a coaching point where they want him handing the ball off a little bit more or what. But there were several occasions where he should have pulled that back out of Sanders' belly and either run with it or look for the short pass, look for the dump out. And it seemed like they were trying to force it trying to force the run on some of those RPOs, and it was just bad decision making. I don't know if they need to simplify the offense a little bit and maybe run a little bit less RPOs.
Well, bouncing off of that, I feel like a 3rd and 2 or whatever it was when they ran Kenny Gainwell up the middle, and he looked like he just stood there, took the ball. It's like just run a running play. Not everything has to be an option because it takes away from the linemen being able to fire out because the linemen have to pretend they're pass blocking and then fire out because if they don't, that's when you get your illegal men downfield. Just
And you
call
saw
it
that with
that
Jason
damn running.
Kelsey.
Just call
Although
it
I
that
do feel that was bullshit because he slipped off of that block, and that's what sent him
he
5
kind of
yards
threw him
downfield.
out of the way. But, I mean, it's letter of the law. He was downfield, and that's what's going to happen when you're playing with the ball in the backfield. And
Yeah.
when you're going for it on short yardage, your lineman can't fire out because they don't know if you're going to pull it and throw it or if you're going to hand it off. So they can't fire. It's a yard. That's all it is. People think it's like the illegal contact window where it's 5 yards for a legal man. No, it's a yard. They'll give you a yard and a half, give you a little bit. So just call a run play where everyone knows it's a run and you fire out.
I agree,
If you get
and we've
beat,
seen
you
it
get beat.
early on this season to this point. It seems like they're reluctant to run the ball early. You know, they want to get that lead via the pass, and then they just kind of forget about the run. You saw it against Washington. Sanders touched the ball 1 time in the first half, and by the way, it was pretty successful if I remember right. It was 20-yard run down to 1st and goal territory. That sounds pretty fucking good to me. But they're very reluctant to run the ball early in the game, and I just don't get it. You know, it's almost like they're trying to prove to everybody how smart they are and that they can scheme receivers open, and I just don't like. There's smart football, and there's proving to people that you're smart, and then there's trying too hard to prove you're smart and running into a brick wall fucking head first. But Kyle, we did stop you in the middle of your take, so please go ahead.
No, it's all good. And kind of piggybacking off what you said, and establishing the run a little bit. Last year, when they started having success, they were so run heavy. And I feel like they're almost trying to force it into Hurts being the guy making the plays and him being the focal point of the offense. And he's a special player, and that's all going to come with just the flow of the game. I think they do need to, go back to the fundamentals a little bit, establish the run game earlier, let it open up the play action, and make, Hurts be able to make plays off the run game. I think they've kind of gotten away from that the last couple of weeks, and they've really tried to force it too much to Hurts. So that's something that I think they need to improve on.
No, I agree 100%. I think you gotta remember what got you there, what you've built success off of the past 2 seasons. And ironically enough, Shane Steichen's the play caller now. And when you saw the Eagles flip the switch last year, it was when Shane Steichen began calling the plays. Nick Sirianni gave up play calling right about the time that we started running the ball down people's throats last year, and it worked. And to this point, you really haven't seen them run the ball down anybody's throat with the same play caller that they had last year. And, that kind of begs the question, is Sirianni, whispering in Steichen's ear, hey, we need to throw the ball a little bit more. We got these weapons. We got to prove to everybody that we're a passing offense and blah, 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 blah. You know what? There's smart football out there. There's smart football, and these guys know how to play it. Ball control, run the ball down people's throat. And I'm not telling you need to be as run heavy as you were the second half of last season. But you do have to run the ball. You do have to establish the run early and keep teams honest. Make them load the box against you and then, hit somebody deep down the seam. It's really easy to do.
Especially with Goddard, your second best pass catcher out there. A lot of the backups are more run blockers, so it would help. I'd really like to see Miles Sanders get closer to that 20 touch mark on the ground.
Yeah, you almost wonder if they're kind of holding him back a little bit because they're hoping to get him cheap on a second contract, but he's having a good year.
Sirianni's too much of a competitor. There's no shot that he's letting them control Sanders, who can give him a shot to win over a contract. There's no shot. I don't.
Why do they continue to play Kenny Gainwell? Like, at what point do we just let?
Gainwell's not getting that many touches either. It's just they're throwing the ball.
Yeah,
And
no,
the
I
thing
agree. But
is they're not even like scheming AJ Brown open. Like the first half, AJ Brown was good, and then again the second half he disappeared. Besides when he fumbled the ball, that might have
Yeah, I
been
think
one of his own catches in the second half.
And that's
Hurts
two
only had, like,
fumbles, and that's
75
2
yards
weeks with a
passing in the
fumble in a
second
row
half.
for him. I don't like that.
And that play was ugly. It looked like he was scared to go across the middle.
Yep.
You start backpedaling, that's when I know you're scared. You get folded like a lawn chair. And the
Looked like
ball
Ricky
popped
Williams out there for who for what.
up. Yep. I didn't like that at all. I was fucking flipping on the TV when he fumbled that ball. I thought that was the game. We just got a huge turnover. They get it right back. I'm like, fuck, here we go.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I was alluding to early on in the segment, right? I mean, it's way too much, willy-nilly not taking care of the football. And, I hate to say it, but the ball is the game, right?
Yep.
You got to take care of the football. You can't just have these careless turnovers, and to have that strip sack in the first play of the second half was like, talk about your all-time momentum killers. Like,
And
you
that
had
play,
very little momentum going into the half, and then coming out, you're gonna fumble the ball on the first goddamn play.
I watched that over and over again, and I was all on Hurts. He had to release that ball earlier as soon as Watkins was making that break, like the touchdown throw. As soon as Watkins made that break, boom, right on the money. That deep throw, he was waiting until Watkins was open. You got to see he's open as soon as he makes that break. And
Yep.
It's
and that comes down to trusting your receivers.
Yeah.
And knowing that they're going to get open coming out of their breaks.
Yeah.
Counting on them to win. No different than throwing those 50-50 balls to Miles Sanders. You have to count on these guys to win their matchups. You have to believe in them.
100%.
Yeah, and,
right, you guys.
No disrespect to the Eagles, but I think this was less about them making a comeback and being resilient, and more about the Colts just choking the game away. I mean, the Eagles stayed in there; they fought. All due respect to them, but the Colts just didn't have it in them in the end. Like they had so many opportunities to win that game, and they just continually folded.
Yeah, it was certainly way closer than it should have been. Yeah, and I think that's the biggest takeaway of the game.
I mean, people forget about that missed field goal that the Colts had.
Yeah,
they make that field goal, game's over. Ice,
Yep.
Boom, done. No shot. We gotta go onside kick, everything. So, special teams finally turns out in our favor.
Yeah,
our special teams is ass.
About goddamn time. I've been ripping the goddamn special teams all fucking season, and honestly, I'm going to keep doing it because they still haven't impressed me.
No, they're god awful.
Real quick before we move on from the Colts game, I just want to say something here. While I agree with you, Kyle, that Hurts definitely showed a little bit of a lack of football IQ at parts of the game. Like Jake mentioned, later in the game, my boy put the team on his fucking back and said, you know what? The offense is stalling. I got these fucking legs. I'm going to use them, and I'm going to will my team to victory. He did not let them lose that fucking game. And I busted out this shirt specifically for that game. I just had my wife bring it down for me. You boys seen it. I just need to let everybody know. Jalen fucking Hurts. Bitch, I'm a Eagle.
Yes, sir.
Worth every penny that I spent outside of the link last Monday night. Just for that moment right there. Which leads me into our next segment. But before we go there, I do want to shout out our new friends over at Canada Dips. That's right, your boys here at Sundays for the Birds now officially affiliated with Canada Dips. If you're looking to get off of chewing tobacco or you just want a nice little head buzz, Canada Dips is great for you. Make sure you check out their link here in the description of this episode. Let them know Sundays for the Birds sent you. Use that promo code. Get yourself a nice discount. Get yourself a nice head buzz going with our friends over at Canada Dips. This leads me into our next segment, boys. That is Dog of the Week. All right, boys, Dog of the Week brought to you by our friends at Neshaminy Creek Brewing Company. You saw me earlier sipping on a nice Cop 2 D2 IPA. If you like a nice smoky beer, check out Croydon is Burning or Falconry Club. Both oak smoked lagers, both phenomenal. And our friends over at Sterling Pig Brewing Company. Just poured myself a nice dark lager here from our friends at Sterling Pig. And I'll tell you what, that is certainly a dark lager. Cheers, boys. God, that's phenomenal. That is fucking awesome. All right, boys, Dog of the Week. Let's throw it around here. Everybody throw out your nominee. I'm going to start it off here. You already know where I'm going. I brought the shirt down for a reason.
7 weeks.
I don't need to say anything else. I already told you everything I need to tell you. That man would not let that football team lose that football game. Jake, I'll throw it over to you.
Yeah, I mean, although he willed them to a win, he also only scored 17 points against with some decent field position, everything like that. I'm going to give it to two new guys, two dogs of the week, Sue and Joseph. Both combined for a sack. They both had a half sack. Both had a tackle for a loss. I feel like they set the tone in that game. The first drive looked bad. Then those guys just started blowing up the middle, getting the linebackers involved, and they, I think, motivated everybody else on the defensive line to play as hard against the run as they were against the run. So I'm going Sue and Joseph as my dogs of the week.
Solid picks, absolutely. I can't disagree. You saw a noticeable difference in the run defense outside of that opening drive by the Colts. Kyle, I'll throw it over to you, Dog of the Week. Who you got? Who is your nominee?
So it's pretty clearly got to be Brandon Graham for me. He had the game sealing play, the sack going around the left tackle. It's some teams they don't have trouble picking up bigger plays. The Colts just don't have anything in the playbook for 4th and 21. You saw Ryan; he was desperate back there. He checked it down. If he doesn't get around the edge and get to Ryan right there, you're looking at a much more manageable 4th and 9, or maybe they pick up a few yards and. That's probably the game right there. So that's the big time play for me. So I'm going to give it to Brandon Graham.
Like that. Shout out Milton Williams, too.
Absolutely.
A sack and 2 tackles for a loss, which you get 2 tackles for a loss against the Colts, which is a run-heavy team. You're doing something right. And
I was watching the game at the bar, and I'm starting to notice people that aren't diehards like us don't know Milton Williams.
I fucking love him.
Couple of old guys sitting over in the corner of the bar. They said, "Who the fuck is Milton Williams?" And without missing a beat, I slammed a shot of tequila and I said, "That's a name you need to get to know."
Yep.
So
step up.
He's a good player, and I think as you start to see the old guard guys like Fletcher Cox and Javon Hargrave fade away and wither away into the wind, so to speak, I think you'll start to see guys like Milton Williams really come into their own and really establish themselves as a part of this Eagles defense. I'm not saying he's going to be a Pro Bowler or anything like that, but I think he is going to be a piece in this defense for years to come. And he's a solid draft pick.
Yep, I love it.
And Kyle, by the way, Brandon Graham was going to be my honorable mention, so solid pick by you there. Guys, we got three different picks here. We got a 3-way tie. Where are we going with it? I mean, you already know where my vote is.
I'll go with BG. Just making big plays when they need to be made. I can't go with Hurts. 17 points for the offense. I can't do it. Can't go that way.
Willed his team to victory.
But without a defense, there's no shot at victory.
I agree. And the defense did much better.
And the BG ended again. Another game we needed, Super Bowl. BG pretty much ended it. He ended it this Sunday, too.
All right. I did say that BG was going to be my honorable mention, so I think that's a good way to go. We continue to see Brandon Graham show up and show out in the biggest moments, and he definitely has that clutch gene. obviously we all know the strip sack in the Super Bowl and all of that. So, Brandon Graham, your dog of the week. Once again, shout out Sterling Pig and the Chamonix Creek Brewing Company. This dark lager, Lake Cochon Noir from Sterling Pig is fucking phenomenal. When you see a beer this dark, normally you're thinking, hey, it's going to be super heavy, probably really bitter. It's not. It is a good, smooth sipping beer. So I highly recommend it. Just like I do all the other fine beverages from Sterling Pig and the Chamonix Creek Brewing Company. Shout out to those guys. Thank you for your support as always. All right, guys. You ready to start previewing the Packers game?
Let's go. Hold on. Let me get ready. First.
Oh, I love this. I love this.
No, I'm ready.
There we go.
Let me take my hat off.
All right, little wardrobe change. There we go. Real cheesehead here.
Yeah, baby.
That's a cheesesteak head right there.
Hell yeah.
Fucking right. All right, guys. So let's start it off right here. I always like to know what your thoughts are on key matchups. Maybe let's all give one area we feel really good about, where we feel we have the upper hand, and we'll give another one where we feel, maybe there might be a slight disadvantage, something you're a little bit worried about. Kyle, I'll start with you.
So I've brought him up before on the pod, and I'm going to continue to bring him up this week. Josiah Scott, he continually just gets burnt. I mean, Jacksonville didn't really take advantage of it. Indy didn't really take advantage of it. But Aaron Rodgers, despite having a down year, he seems like a guy that won't be able to not take advantage of that matchup. And Christian Watson's been catching fire. So, the last couple of weeks, they still got Alan Lazard.
They can find a way to get him matched up in the slot. That's certainly one to worry about.
That's something that worries me. Josiah Scott at some point has got to, either make a play or maybe move to the bench and get Zach McPherson in there and let him get a run at it.
Yeah, you can definitely see this team is certainly missing Avonte Maddox. What's a matchup you feel favorable?
Matchup I feel favorable about? That's a good one. I mean, I'm going to go to the offensive line. They lost to Darius Smith in free agency, and that's really been the biggest part of their struggles, I feel like, on defense. Their secondary is still really good. Linebackers, they've struggled a little bit this year, but for the most part, they're really solid. The biggest problem is that they can't get to the quarterback in time. So those guys have to cover for an exuberant amount of time, and that leads to breakdowns, obviously. So if the offensive line holds up well, then Jalen Hurts should have all the time in the world to make some plays for us.
Absolutely. I like that. I like that pick. Jake, throw it over to you. What's one advantage, one disadvantage for you?
The advantage is that they have Aaron Rodgers. Broken thumb or not, I mean, he's still the prettiest throwers of a football you'll ever see. I mean, you see the ball leave his hand at angles that you never think you could see thrown, and they're just fucking beautiful throws, and it looks so simple to him. But he doesn't have the receivers that he once had. And the coach, I don't think, is that well either. They got some pretty good running backs they don't give the ball enough to, which hopefully they continue that, and they just leave it in Rodgers' hands. And broken thumb's a broken thumb, no matter if it's on your throwing hand or not. That bad boy is going to hurt when you get sacked and you're trying to, hold yourself up. That thumb's going into the dirt. So if we can get pressure on Rodgers, I think we'll be good. But that's the only thing that scares me is Rodgers is Rodgers. He could steal a game from anyone. He's one of the best throwers I've ever watched play football. He might choke a lot, but regular season games and things like that, I hate to say it, but it's just beautiful to watch how quick his release is and how on point his balls are. So if we're playing zone, which we have been, we're going to get picked apart because that motherfucker is going to take the snap and throw it right away. He don't care if he's getting 4 yards, 5 yards, 3 yards, 7, 8, 9, 10. He doesn't give a shit. He's going to get it out of his hands. He's not going to get hit, and he's going to let his receivers try to make a first down. So I feel like we got to play some bump and run. But what I think we have the advantage in is their defense Kyle mentioned it. Their defensive line isn't that good. Their rush defense is piss poor. Secondary is still really good. So I feel like this is the game where we need to not try to outsmart everyone and say, oh, their run defense is bad, so they think we're going to run the ball. We're going to throw the ball. No. Go at them, line up on the center a couple times and fucking punch him in the mouth. And then line up in shotgun. Give Hurts the option to keep it or hand it off. And just start establishing the run. And you can easily keep Rodgers off the field. Keep one of the best quarterbacks off the field and run the ball. And I feel like, they give up 140 yards rushing a game. We average 140 yards rushing a game. So, it's simple. Dude, attack their weakness. That's their weakness. Go at it.
Yeah, Sean, before you go real quick, kind of, again, piggybacking off what Jake said, one of the most disappointing players in all of football this year has been Kenny Clark, the nose tackle for the Packers. Everybody talks about football and who's been let down, mostly due to fantasy, but Kenny Clark's a guy who, he's a 3-4 nose. He's supposed to stop the run, set the tone for the defense and all that. And he's just played piss poor all year.
And these primetime announcers continue to pump him up. I agree, Kyle. He's been a major disappointment for that Packers defense. So for me, real quick, I'm gonna start it off. I'm gonna be pessimistic here, and I'm gonna tell you what I'm scared of. And it kind of piggybacks a little bit into what Jake was saying about Aaron Rodgers. But you've seen this team, particularly last week, but the past 2 weeks total, really seem to struggle with playing by the rules. We're seeing a lot of penalties. And if there's one thing that Aaron Rodgers is great at, and one thing that he coaches all of his offensive teammates up to do, it's to take advantage of those free plays. And if you're a penalty-prone team, you're sure to jump off sides. He's going to get you, and he will go and win on a lot of those free plays. If not, he'll certainly tire you out, because we've all seen it time and time again, season in and season out. His guys on those free plays, they're not running a curl route. They're not running a 5-yard slant. They're going for the dagger. A free play is a free play. They're going deep. If he wins on those free plays, it's going to be a tough night for the Philadelphia Eagles. One area I feel we have the advantage kind of ties into what you were saying there, Kyle, and also you, Jake. I feel that we have the advantage in the run game. We have one of the best run-blocking offensive lines in the league. Dare I say the best run-blocking offensive line in the league. You have maulers clear across that offensive line. Guys that can just straight up fucking move people around.
When you let them fully run block, not this RPO bullshit that we talked about earlier.
And we see it all the time with Jason Kelce getting out into the second level. How many centers do you see actually get out there and lay a block on a safety? There's nobody that does that other than Jason Kelce. Pulling center. You have Jordan Mailata, who is damn near an immovable object and can just throw people around because he's absolutely fucking massive. There's no reason why this team can't take advantage of what's been a piss-poor run defense by the Packers to this point this season and run the ball down their throats. It's going to be cold in Philly on Sunday. Jake, I'm sure you can attest to that. I'm sure you already got your long johns laid out.
It's supposed to rain all morning, too.
Yep.
All morning, afternoon.
Shitty field conditions. It's going to be a ball control football game. And as you alluded to earlier, Jake, keep the ball out of Rodgers' hands. You don't want to try and win this in a shootout. This is a ball control football game. You need to trust your defense. You need to trust your offensive line, and you need to trust your running backs.
100%.
Absolutely. So real quick, anything else you guys are really interested to see out of this game here, Eagles-Packers?
Just look for a guy in the Eagles cheesehead to beat the shit out of two Packers fans.
I like it.
So me beating up my two buddies.
There you go.
I guess the only other thing would probably just look for the Packers, injuries. They got a lot of guys questionable, banged up on the offensive side of the ball. David Bakhtiari, he's one of the best tackles in the game when he plays. He's played, I think, 3 games in the last 5 years or something just absolutely egregious like that. And then, Aaron Jones, Randall Cobb, Romeo Doubs, Lazard. I mean, they got a bunch of banged up guys, so it'll be curious to see who's available for them to play in the game. That's just something to keep an eye on leading up to the game.
You mentioned Aaron Jones there. That's one thing that if he plays, I am a little bit concerned. You saw improvement out of the run defense last week. We've been getting gashed up the middle for the most part on the run game. And, obviously you add 600 pounds of beef into the middle of that defensive line. It tends to deter people a little bit. But let's not act like our ends haven't been struggling with stopping the run also. And Aaron Jones, you see him time and time again. If his tackles can set that edge, he's gone. And he's getting effective yards. So I really need our ends and our linebackers to step up on stopping those outside runs. I have full confidence in the D tackles and these newly acquired guys to swallow up some blockers and make some one-arm tackles and stop the run and do what they got to do. But again, let's not act like these guys on the outside haven't been struggling. So I'm looking for them to step up as well. And if the Packers are smart, you'll see them try and take advantage of that matchup also and try and get Aaron Jones out in space on the edge. That includes the screen game also.
Yep. That's where the linebackers come into play. Just
Absolutely.
key in on the running back. That's your guy. Watch him and follow him.
I did have one other one for you guys also. I'm expecting a big bounce back game from Darius Slay here. He's kind of struggled the past 2 weeks. Not as much last week as he did in the Washington game, but he certainly struggled here in the middle part of the season. I'm looking for a big bounce back from him. I'm hoping to see him get another pick here on the season. You look at this Packers offense and kind of piggybacking off of what Kyle had to say. There's a lot of banged up guys there on the offensive side of the ball, and if Lazard can't go, and Randall Cobb is a shell of what he used to be, and he's kind of banged up also. You're really left with Watson as your only true threat, and if I'm being honest here, I feel pretty damn good about Darius Slay in that situation. And for what it's worth, I will continue to call him Darius Slay until I get a big play again.
Yeah, and I mean, I feel like a lot of that scheme where it's sitting them back. This is a game where we talk about you can't play zone. Rodgers will pick you apart. Play man, force them to scramble, force them to panic, get some pressure on them, and your corner should be able to keep up with the receivers that they have.
I also think Watson's a guy that Slay can easily bait also, right?
Yeah,
I think he can sell a guy on a route and jump it easily.
Yep.
At least a guy this young, still kind of trying to come into his own and cut his teeth in the league. So,
and Watson's
really
not like a speedster. He's not like a speedster either. He's more a route guy. Go up and get it over you. So you gotta just lock him up man to man. You can lock all these receivers up man to man with the two corners that you have on the outside. And if you feel bad about Josiah Scott in the slot, slide a linebacker over or safety over to help him out. I feel like our two corners should be able to take those two outside guys out and move his safety down low to help the young slot corner and Josiah Scott.
Absolutely,
Christian Watson's is a burner, dude. He
does have game speed.
He's a raw prospect. His routes aren't great. I mean, what they drafted for is he's big bodied. He ran a sub 4.35. I mean, he's a raw prospect. Lazard's not really a burner. He's more of a route runner, but Slay should have no problem bottling up Christian Watson.
Absolutely. So we don't have a gambling segment for you guys tonight. No not so sharp picks of the week, but I'd be remiss if I didn't thank our same phenomenal sponsors that bring that segment to you every week. That, of course, is Row One. Make sure you check out the link in the description of this episode for Row One. I believe you get 15% off all artwork from our friends at Row One. If you're looking for some great additions to the man cave, check out Row One. Also, Norse Beards for all your beard care needs. You want to look like the mayor of John Street. You want to look like Jake Long. You want to look like the Norse gods. Hell, Christmas is right around the corner for you older gentlemen. You want to look like fucking Santa Claus.
Hell yeah.
Check out our friends at Norse Beards. Use that promo code OCS. Get you 25% off all your beard care needs from our friends at Norse Beards. That's Norse, Norse, beards.com. Also, our friends at Righteous Felon Beef Jerky. Use our promo code OCSN as an Old City Sports Network for 15% off all your craft jerky. Makes a great stocking stuffer. Makes a great mouth stuffer. Phenomenal snack. Dare I say, an elite snack. We talked elite side dishes at Thanksgiving earlier. This is an absolute elite snack, protein-packed, ready to rock. That is Righteous Felon Beef Jerky. That's righteousfelon.com, promo code OCSN, 15% off all your craft jerky needs. I highly recommend the Bourbon Franklin Beef Jerky. Also, our friends at Fanatics. Make sure you check out our friends at Fanatics for everything official. Holiday season right around the corner. Why not save yourself some money with our link down in the description? Fanatics, go there for absolutely everything official. That is Fanatics, Fanatics, fanatics.com for everything official. Use that link. Let them know Old City Sports Network and Sundays for the Birds sent you as you find that perfect gift for the sports fan in your life. Boys, it's time for the vaunted segment. Kyle's favorite. Final thoughts. Kyle, let you lead it off. Final thoughts.
Just happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Enjoy your meal. Eating turkey. Enjoy your time with the family. I know my sister. She's home for the holidays for the week. So
shout out to Archie.
Yeah, shout her out. Yeah, you know it. So it should be good. Just spend time. Watch football and just have some fun.
Absolutely. Jake, final thoughts for you?
Everyone, just enjoy the 3 F's tomorrow: family, food, and football.
Oh, that's good.
No better time than Thanksgiving to just pig out. Don't worry about diet. Don't worry about macros, calories, anything like that. Mix in a little alcohol with it. Get yourself in a food coma. Sit your ass on the couch with, surrounded by loved ones. It could be friends, family, whoever. If you have someone, enjoy it. Enjoy the football tomorrow. Enjoy the food even more. And just have a happy Thanksgiving.
Absolutely. You heard Jake. It's all about the family tomorrow. He mentioned food and football. You cannot forget to mention booze. He's talking about the 3 F's. I'm talking to 2 B's.
That could
Beers.
be F2, fucked up. 4 F's.
I'm talking to 2. I'm talking to 2 B's.
Food,
Beer
football,
and booze. Let's make it the 3 B's. Beer, booze, and butterball.
There you go.
Stuff yourself with some turkey, stuff yourself with some whiskey, and wash it all down with an ice cold beer. Final thoughts are brought to you tonight by our friends at Lugaroo. That's lugaroo.co for all your custom clothing needs. Make sure you let them know Sundays for the Birds and Old City Sports Network sent you. And, oh, my God. Get this Packers fan the fuck out of here.
That's one of the kids going to be beaten up in the stand. So
that's one way to get on ESPN, brother.
Yep. Going viral.
Yeah, baby.
Eagles fans and Eagles cheesehead beats the shit out of 2 cheesehead Packer fans.
World Star.
Yep.
All right, boys. I got to get upstairs, help the wife start getting everything ready for Thanksgiving tomorrow. We can't appreciate everybody for rocking with us here live, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube Live, and everybody over on the audio side enough. Don't forget to be a friend, tell a friend, where you get the best sports talk in the city. That, of course, is right here on Old City Sports Network. And if you're looking for Eagles specific, there's nowhere else other than right here. Sundays for the Birds. Don't forget, be a friend. Tell a friend. Let them know. Let's grow this thing. You guys are in on the ground floor. Let's grow this thing. Blow it up. Make it huge. Let everybody know. Best Eagles talk in the city right here. Sundays for the Birds on the Old City Sports Network. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. We'll see you right back here next Thursday. Go Birds!
B-A-T-A!